Hey everybody, how's it going? I know I had promised my viewers that had gone that had seen my previous video called Josh's Weekend. I know I had promised I was gonna do it, but here's the problem now. I don't think I'm gonna be able to do it, and that's okay. But don't worry, I got another backup movie to cover something that will be a little different than Josh's Weekend. But I very well could use that character though in my movie. I just might do that. Josh could be one of the characters. I don't know. I'm still trying to work out the kinks in it still. There's one thing I have to do to fix it, and then it's fixed, and then I have to write it as a script, and then it's ready to go. Thing though, I'm not sure if I should either do it at the film school or if I should submit it into Hollywood. So I'm still trying to decide. I might be thinking about doing both and see what ends up happening. Because if I do it at the film school, then the next thing I could do is that once it's finished, then I could submit it and say to Hollywood, I want this movie to be longer, more than 10 minutes. The only reason why I had to make it to be 10 minutes exactly is because I'm at a film school where we do not have a budget and we didn't really have a lot of time to make this, and this is how very little time I had to make it in this many minutes, which is only 10 minutes, and that's pretty short for a film because a long time ago it didn't used to be that way. I am sure, at least I think so. I'm not relatively 100% sure, but at least I think so. And then another thing too is that it's a fun thing to do, films, and I'm really hoping to do more uh, eventually, down the line. I mean, I don't know if I'll be there, forever. I do love it. I'm hoping to go back maybe sometime in the future if I can, but if not, that's okay too. At least then I will know that it was a learning experience and that I had a lot of fun and that I'll use more filming criteria as I get older, and I'll use all of that for my movies for sure. I'm thinking I might just pursue doing no, sorry, not screenwriting. I mean being a script writer and submitting them either to the film school for them to do or put them into Hollywood. So I'll still be doing that as an option, even if I'm not going to be there anymore. Because I do have a reason why, but I'd rather not say, like, because I can't share too much. But I can say that I do love it a lot, but there's a reason why, but I'm not going to give out the reason why I can't be there anymore. But don't get me wrong, I do like it a lot. And I'll use all the knowledge that I will be learning from now and into the future. So I will say that much. And then another thing too is that the movie I'm going to be making is going to be based about a girl. I don't have a name yet. If I have to make a good estimated guess about what the name though is going to be, I'm thinking it might start with either A or R. So I don't know if the name should be like, I have no idea honestly. I'm trying to think of some good names. I'm thinking either like Rachel or like, I don't know. I know I can't use Arya because that's been used already in a show. I honestly can't think of any right now, but if there's any people out there that want to put in suggestions down in the comment section, that would be helpful. I think I do got a name though for the brother though, which is younger. His name will be either will be Jason, or it could be Mason or Grayson. Either three of them, because I have created those names in most of my other like in most of my other creative writing, like either thesis or stories that I've written in the past that just weren't exactly successful because I was trying to make those into books, but they just didn't seem to work out. I'm not sure realistically if I would be a good writer as like an author, but maybe better in the filming industry because I feel like I have better criteria in the filming because I have so many good ideas and I have been putting them all out there this year, and a lot of them are being used actually in some of the upcoming films that I will be doing. So I'm actually pretty glad that I'm actually getting a chance to do some new stuff that's going to be really fun to watch and see. There are some though that I'd rather not be too involved in. There's only one that I really want to be involved in, and it's this one that has to do with this. Sorry about that. In the story is about a guy that that lives in an abandoned building. He doesn't really know exactly where he is, and then all of a sudden he then realizes that the only thing that's blocking him from reality is that he's thinking in his own mind that he is not in reality when really he isn't, and so he is doing his best by fighting off his inner demon, his inner demons, but it's only one inner demon, which, if that would make any sense to any people from my viewers. And then there's a guardian angel, and the guardian angel turns out to be his therapist, and the guardian angel slash therapist is supposed to pull him out of what's happening in his head back into reality, and that's what it's about. So if anybody wants to know more about it or wants to know about this, I mean, that's basically the storyline, but I know there's more to it. I just can't remember it all because I don't have the notes on me right now because I had left them over at the film school. So in my next video, I'll let you all know more about it later. And if you all want to know like how it's gonna end, I will honestly will not tell you until by when that happens. But I did tell you the main story though. But there is a twist to it, but I'm not gonna say until by when the movie is finished, and then I'll upload it to my YouTube channel to let you all watch and see if you all like it. So yeah, but it's also a group project, so it's not just me throwing out ideas. It's other people ideas as well too, that I know that go to the film school with me, and it's a lot of fun. So yeah. And another cool thing, I'm also going to be the gaffer, so I'm going to be in charge of the lighting and everything, which is going to be cool as well, because I like doing a lot of, like, behind the scenes, where I'm using the equipment. So, I might well be wanting to do in the future in filming, probably I would want to do gaffering or doing grip, because grips and gaffers work together in, work in the same department for the filming industry, and it's just a lot of fun, to do. Honestly, I'm just gonna be straightforward. It's a lot of fun. The industry is. I mean, it could be tough, but when you're going to a program well, I mean, it's not a, it's like a program, but it's like a training, like job site, like type like program like school, since it has program hours, but then it also runs like a normal school too, because it starts at like 8 o'clock, but I don't get there until by like closer to like 9:20, so I'm there in time for the meeting, which is at like 9:30, and then after that we then have to get to our classes at like 9:50, somewhere around that time, and then after that we then have lunch at around 11. And then our lunches usually done at around 12, 10 or 12:11. I think somewhere around there. And then after that we then go to our other classes. And then by 3 o'clock is the end of the day, and we also have to do chores as well there too as well. So people are asked to do different things. There's not that much to do though there. For chores, I think mostly we just have to do like equipment room, which is a chore. So we have to check for dead batteries, charged batteries, making sure that all the equipment is put in the right place, and making sure that the equipment is has been put away properly. So if the cords are messed up, we have to recoil them. And I know how to coil stuff since I've been a guitarist for so many years. And then it's just a lot of fun just getting to do stuff like that. And really, I know people should be able to know the difference of knowing how to coil up a good coil, if you get what I mean, for like an XLR cable, which is what goes to one of those Zoom recorders that you use, like when you're having to like record like actors through a boom pole, which is a lot of fun. The boom pole thing is when you're having to hold it up like this, usually, and it's a lot of fun. But the thing though is that it does take your energy out. But the more you do it, the more you get stronger, which is kind of great about it. So that's one upside about being boom pole operator, is that you get to do that a lot. And then for sound, and then the person that does sound is has a headset on, with the headset on, and the jack of it being put into the recorder, and you're listening to it, and you're making sure that there's no other sudden noises happening, and if there is, they have to cut it, and then they have to re-record it again. So the track itself has to be clean so you can hear the actors, and it's a lot of hard work. It really is. I'm gonna be honest. It is for people that have to do that. That's one of the most hardest things to do, and especially since since the film school is in a city, and there is a train station that's not too far from us, where sometimes we can hear it. So if it's going by, we're gonna have to say like cut, or the director will say, "I heard the train. Did you hear it too?" And then the person that's doing the sound will say, "Yep, I heard it." So then they have to get rid of that recording, and then they have to re-record it again. So yeah, it's a really difficult process, but overall it is fun though. Just in general though, just doing different things. And then there's like people that do the lighting, which are the gaffers, which are in charge of the lighting. So when they have to turn it off, they have to click saving. They have to say the word saving, because saving means saving light. So then they know, the other people know as well, that they're gonna be turning it off. And then there's another term for the other thing for turning on. I can't remember what they call it. I should though, because I'm getting more familiar into the filming aspects of what they do at this program. It's a lot of fun though. It really is. I would say my most favorite movie is Back to the Future. Honestly, with Michael J. Fox, it's one of my favorites, and I've always been a big fan of film, probably ever since I first watched The Lost Boys and Stand By Me. But I also have learned some things about actors and what they do. And acting can be a really tough thing. But if you want to know some really fun facts, I could tell you some right now. So, as I was listening to the commentary through The Lost Boys, as it was made in the year of 87, even though I'm 22 years old, and I shouldn't know this because that's not even my generation. That generation are people that are in their 40s, or in their 50s. But people in their 40s and 50s still look good for their age, I would say. I don't judge people by the way they look for their own age. I say, hey, you're looking good for your age. They're like, thank you. Because I like to give people compliments, But I like to do it as a gesture, but not in in a different way, if you know what I mean. But yeah, so they're like, oh, you're familiar with that film? I'm like, yeah. They're like, oh, okay, cool. And I'm like, yeah, did you know that so and so forth was in this movie? Did any of you know that Johnny Galecki from The Big Bang Theory had played Rusty in National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation? That in that movie? Yeah, that was him when he was younger. I know. Interesting. Not that many people would know that unless if you actually listen to the fun Easter egg facts, which is pretty fun stuff to learn, honestly. And then if you all want to know more, I mean, if you date back to the first one that was made in '83 with Beverly D'Angelo and with Chevy Chase when they first started out together. Or they could have done movies before then too. I'm not exactly sure, but I do know that Anthony Michael Hall was in that movie, and boy, I must say he had a really great role in that movie, just as playing Rusty for that first film, which was really good. And I just think that he did so much. I think he put in, I would say, a good enough effort to be a really great actor in that movie. But then, if you think about all the other actors, they did too. If you talk about Kiefer Sutherland, or if you talk about his brother Angus Sutherland, which is his half brother, through their dad, but different mom. I believe from hearing on as I looked on Wikipedia. It's really fun to learn about all these different things that people don't know about. Like Angus Sutherland um was in the second Lost Boys, but didn't get good reviews or good critics. People just said like it was just a crappy movie because it only got 2 stars. But I thought it was badass. But still, I'm not even sure if people even knew about it because it wasn't recognized by critics as a good movie. Unlike the first one, it got tons of like great like reviews through critics in the filming industry at that time, since it was made in the 80s, and the 80s was one of the best decades um, there was for a lot of great movies. I mean, there was Time Bandits, Back to the Future, there was E.T. E.T., which stands for the extraterrestrial, and then there was many more like the Goonies, the Breakfast Club, um, so many more. Beetlejuice, Heathers, The Wizard, some other great movies too. I mean, I'm a big '80s, like fan. So if you want to know more about if you want to know more of what I know about the '80s, ask me about '80s movies or actors. It would be fun for me to do more research. So if any of you want to fill me in with newer stuff, please let me know in the comments down below, because that would be extremely useful to me, because there are some things I know about some films, and then there's other ones I don't know about. I do know about Lethal Weapon though, because the interesting thing about that movie is that that was supposed to be done by Richard Donner, and funny enough that he actually had done the Goonies, I believe, with Spielberg. But then the other interesting thing too is that he had told at least I think it was Richard Donner. I think it was a Richard Donner film. That he had told Corey Feldman that there was a new upcoming movie in '87, and he told him that it was The Lost Boys, and so he wanted to He wanted to get the role as the brother in the film, but unfortunately it had already been taken by Corey Haim. So then when Joel Schumacher had then got handed the film after Richard Donner was given Lethal Weapon, because Richard Donner originally was supposed to do The Lost Boys, because he had based the movie to be like a little kid movie, which and the age ranges were supposed to be from like 8 to like 9-year-olds, but then it got changed when Joel then changed it up a bit by the ages, the cast, and what he wanted to do to change up everything. He wanted to do more of a vampire movie that was going to be like a horror comedy, and it worked to be horror. It worked out to be a horror, and it also worked out to be comedy, because he had the two Coreys, and they had done comedies before, so that's what made it so much better, is that he had two people that had already been in comedies. So he had asked Corey Feldman and Jameson Newlander to watch Chuck Norris and Rambo, and do a combination of both. So then they would do humor and a little bit of like humor and a little bit of like I think like horror humor type of stuff that was related to vampire-ish type of things. So then it would keep the humor keep on going in the movie as it was along as a horror film as well too, because it did have a couple of horror scenes here and there, and that's what made it to be such a great film. And at that time in the 80s, in 87, when Mark Hahn was the president at Warner Brothers at that time, he was like, he was extremely, I think, if I have to put into words, from what I had heard on the commentary, Joel had said, Mark Hahn was very surprised in a way that Joel Schumacher was able to do a film that was both horror and comedy during that time when people in the 80s weren't able to do two genres at once. So for Joel Schumacher, that was a really big deal. So that for him broke a lot of barriers by within the filming industry at that time, and that had helped him likewise for his films as he was as a filmmaker and director as well too. So he was really, good. And he had done 4 other movies before he had done this, and he had said that he doesn't do kid movies. So when he had changed it up, he wanted it to be teenagers. He wanted them to be sleek, sexy, as he said in the commentary. And I thought that what he was saying was like, okay, I'm digging this guy's vibes. What else is there to tell? Then he even mentioned dirt bikes, and I was like, what? No way, dirt bikes. And then, interesting enough, Kiefer Sutherland back then was a biker. So that was another great thing too, is that for him, it must have been exciting to do that. Because back then in the 80s, that must have been a lot of fun, just, doing that in a film. Because that is a very rare thing to do, and most people would have never done that. So that was something that most filmmakers would never do, like, just in a regular film, because that is just, like, a really rare thing to come up upon while you're making a movie in process, and you just so happen to find out that that actor is a biker. So it just makes it all the more fun for the actors to do something like that. And the other actors probably had no experience, but they had to, though, for the film, since it was so probably exhilarating and fun at the same time. And I must say, it's one of the best movies that was made at that time in the late 80s and 87. And I have to say that that is my most favorite top 1 movie that I would always like for the rest of my life. I mean, I might put a tattoo that might say Lost Boys Forever. So, you never know. Alright, people. Well, if you want to know more fun facts about the Lost Boys, ask me in the comments below, and make sure to hit like, subscribe to my channel, which is, sorry, I shouldn't be saying the thing. That really doesn't sound right. So, yeah, make sure to click like, subscribe to my channel, and my channel name is called, trying to remember it. Oh, that's right, Spirit, and then it's MOORE Productions. Then you put in the 2 explanations, and then after that you write JOSH, and then comma S Josh's, and then weekend. And then once you type that in, you'll find my videos. Alright, everybody. Well, now you know how to get to my YouTube channel to like my videos and my content and everything. And I will upload you all more videos over time. Alright, everybody. Well, this is me signing out. Have a good one. Rock and roll. Keep it fresh, everybody. And have a good day, and have a good night. Adios, everyone. This is me signing out.